An entitled Karen accuses me of trying to hit on her at the gym after I took off my wedding ring just trying to get some exercise done before I went home to my kids. Things escalated from there as she got in my face, screamed at me, calling me a jerk with her phone in my face, only to finally pour her drink in my face and down my shirt. And I've honestly never been more confused in my life. Here's what happened. So I am very happily married with a small herd of children and have been going to the gym in my little town since November of 2022. I always go after getting the kids to bed, which generally puts me there at around 8:30 p.m. The gym I go to has 2 rooms, one that has cardio equipment and the other room has free weights, as well as various other workout devices. My routine begins the same every time, with 9 miles on the bike, which leaves me in a state similar to that of a walrus that has just managed to pull himself onto an iceberg, very wet and breathing heavy. This process takes me until about 8:55 in the evening. I enjoy hitting weights at this time because the gym is often, not always, a little bit empty, and it leaves me to grunt and groan in peace. Tonight, the gym was not empty when I entered the weight room. Now, I mentioned that I have been going to the gym since early November. In that time, I have gotten used to the people that do spend time in the gym past 9 o'clock, and the person that was there with me was new. It's not a big deal. She brought her own yoga mat, and she had her phone set on a stand. I assume she was making a video. Both of these observations were made as I walked down to my trusty bench to start my workout. I grab my dumbbells and I get to work. Now, I always remove my wedding ring before I lift and tuck it in my right sock for safekeeping. If I try to wear it, it digs into my hand and it makes things most unpleasant. So I start grunting out the reps and I'm nicely and routinely switching between arms. And that is when I feel a tap on my shoulder. So I stopped what I was doing and I turned around to see the new girl standing behind me, sporting a menacing glare and wielding her iPhone. I popped out my earbud and I asked her what was going on. And that's when the most ridiculous conversation I've ever been a part of in my life started to go down in a way that I honestly never expected. I look back at this lady and I say, "Hi, what's going on?" This entitled Karen looks at me and says, "You're disgusting." I look at her in confusion and I say, "Excuse me?" She then says, "You saw me in here and you took off your ring. Planning on chatting me up, are you?" Now, I can't say exactly what she said because she swore a little bit too at me as she was approaching me. I looked at her and I said, "What?" And she just responds by saying, "You're gross." And at that point, I was like, all right, whatever, okay. I proceeded to put my earbuds back in and get to work while she stormed to the other side of the gym and started packing up her stuff. I watched her head for the exit while I was resting between sets, which I'm not really bothered by. Anyway, I'm rowing away and out of nowhere, I'm blasted with a cascade of liquid, which leads me to drop my dumbbell and spin around to see what's going on. It's the same entitled Karen with her recently emptied thermos screaming at me at the top of her lungs. Now, I'm not sure what she was yelling about, but I'm assuming that she was screaming that I was just being gross. It's really unclear as I had my earbuds in. I was just minding my own business. So I removed my earbuds so I can understand her just a little bit more, and she storms away. Best of all, and I think this is the highlight of this exchange at my gym, my shirt now smells like vodka. Do most people drink at the gym? Am I doing this wrong or something? Usually I just drink water, but hey, that's just me. I get home, I take a shower, and I explain to my wife why my shirt smells like I just got back from a raging party. We both have a good laugh, and I check to see if this entitled crazy Karen had posted that video on social media, eager to share it if it does pop up. I still to this day don't know who that lady was, but I live in a pretty small town, so I'm sure that this video as well as this entitled Karen will eventually most likely pop up again. That is seriously crazy, and I have so many questions. First off, it makes complete sense that they would take off their wedding ring if they want to try and lift weights, because yeah, that really can dig into your hand, and it could potentially be dangerous for your finger as well. But also, why was this entitled Karen drinking vodka at the gym? I seriously can't imagine that would be a very healthy thing to do, all while you're working out and working up a sweat. I personally just drink water when I go to the gym, but I guess I'm doing it wrong apparently. I'm also like really impressed by the way this guy handled this situation. He didn't freak out when this lady got up in his face, and he didn't even stop his exercise. Not even when this lady splashed him right before storming out. I mean, this guy is super patient. I would have been very upset if someone did that to me. I don't know about you. So hopefully the original poster never has to deal with that again, because the guy just wants to work out at the gym. And maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to report that lady to the gym itself. Most gyms that I've been to have some kind of security system or some kind of CCTV that they can review and be like, oh yeah, she really did do that to you. And who knows, you might be able to get this lady banned, and that way you never have to deal with her ever again. But what would you do if you were in this situation? How would you react to the situation the original poster was in? in? Leave a comment down below, we would love to hear it. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius? Check it out, link down below in the description. Today I messed up by trusting my girlfriend over my best friend, and now as a result, I feel really dumb and I'm not sure what to do. So I'm a 23-year-old male and I broke up with my girlfriend today. My girlfriend and I had been dating for the past 6 months, and everything was going great because she was my first serious relationship in almost 3 years. I'm usually a non-argumentative person, which is why I tend to avoid any confrontations with her and try to dissolve any misunderstandings up front. However, a few weeks ago, my best friend, who I've known since college, texted me saying that she needed to talk to me about my girlfriend. I was initially confused on why she couldn't do it through text messages, but I ended up meeting with her just to discuss the issue. She told me that she saw my girlfriend out with another person, in which I responded with skepticism. I asked her for proof, in which she couldn't provide, because she was apparently too shocked to think about snapping a picture as evidence. I told my best friend that I didn't want to continue with the topic because I couldn't believe that my partner would do that to me, as I thought I had a pretty clear grasp on her personality. She agreed and we changed the topic and ate brunch together before I decided to head back home. I left the conversation in the back of my mind for a few weeks and didn't think much about it and just carried on with my life. However, just yesterday, when my girlfriend came over to my house to spend some quality time, I caught a glimpse of her texting another guy, all while sporting the kind of smile that I thought was reserved for me, and she did all of this while she thought I was asleep. My mind instantly flashed back to the conversation from just a few weeks ago as I began to connect the dots in my head. It's shameful to admit this, but I practically flew into a blind rage as I confronted her on who she was texting. She was shocked as she didn't think I was awake, and my heart immediately sank as her first reaction was to hide the phone away from me. She obviously denied that she was texting someone and stated that I needed to not be concerned about it and that I should know that she would never do anything like that to me based on her past history of being cheated on. I softened up at this point and I told her to just show me the phone since she obviously has nothing to hide, but she refused to do so due to privacy reasons. This immediately set off alarm bells again as I told her to leave my room, in which she did with no resistance. We texted on and off for the whole day after that, but she always ended up denying it and calling me a paranoid freak. However, because of my pestering on just wanting to see the phone, she ultimately admitted to having relations with another guy for the past 2 months because I apparently was not enough for her. This broke me to the point of tears, and it's pathetic, but I thought I could just sleep it off and start again. However, I decided against my heart and ended things with her today because I knew a relationship without respect and one without trust would never last. I am genuinely still in so much pain, and I feel so much self-hatred because I feel so stupid and naive for trusting someone who couldn't care less about me in the first place. What a sad situation. Your girlfriend pulls a fast one and basically says, yeah, I've been cheating on you, and it's honestly so unfair that you have to deal with this. So truly, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. I think also you really need to make amends with that friend and go back to them and say, whoa, wait a second, you were right. She was cheating on me and she was going behind my back. Because you know what? They did you a favor. They told you straight up, hey, this is what's going on. And yeah, it might be really uncomfortable, but you know what? I would much rather have a friend like that in my life than have a girlfriend who is blatantly cheating on me behind my back. She told you exactly how it is, even though it was going to be uncomfortable. And that truly is a good friend. So hopefully you can see the silver linings behind this, because in my opinion, you know the true colors of your ex-girlfriend, and I truly think you're going to be so much better off without her in your life. My entitled aunt embarrasses me and the rest of the family by going above and beyond what anyone would expect just so she can get the sauce that she wants at the fast food restaurant we were trying to eat at, and I was honestly completely mortified. Here's what happened. So while I don't usually expect to see entitled people while out and about, I certainly don't expect my own party to be the entitled ones. Knowing how my aunt was raised, I should have expected it, but it still shocked me when I was at a Christmas-themed fair 2 weeks ago. It was the sort of place that usually held adventures of high fantasy, elves, dwarves, knights, and anything else associated with that. But for now, it had been rethemed to Santa, his own elves, and Charles Dickens. We all had tickets that included a meal, and their dining hall had 2 available. My aunt and I were chatting like friends, and then I agreed to split the 2 entrees between the 2 of us. I haven't talked with my aunt for an extended time in about 2 or 3 years, and I don't think I remembered what she acts like sometimes. She was keeping pleasant and polite, so I brushed off my feelings of the past to stick around with her. Since I had ordered with her, we had hung out near the front together, waiting for our meal, to which it came surprisingly fast. fast. But that was honestly not the issue. The issue arose when we realized that there were fries and we needed to get fry sauce to go with it. The dispenser was empty. The person at the counter kept reassuring my aunt that someone would come refill it as soon as possible. After about 3 minutes, she grabbed a passing busboy before he could return to the kitchen and insisted he get some for her, more or less in a polite manner. The busboy complied, but later the girl at the counter tried to explain that they had no more fry sauce to my aunt. She huffed and puffed and wasn't happy about it, but went back to the ketchup and fry sauce dispensers, and it was as if I could hear the gears turning in her head. I got myself a cup of ketchup, accepting that there wasn't any more sauce, and moving on to the next best thing. My aunt, on the other hand, she refused to accept the fact that they were out of fry sauce. In fact, she grabs the entire dispenser and pulls out the bowl that holds the fry sauce, leaving the spout to drip fry sauce all over the place, since it was attached to the other 2 dispensers. I thought she was crazy, but she kept whispering to me about how she was determined to get fry sauce, as if it were some big secret that we could share. She quickly filled 2 cups with the leftover sauce when the miss at the counter noticed what had happened and rushed over to try and stop her. She didn't quite know what to do though, and fidgeted on the sidelines, trying to gently get the sauce tin back without really confronting her. I'm sure she's thinking something like, I don't get paid nearly enough for this. Figuring that she got the fry sauce that she wanted, I started to plead with my aunt to go, hoping she would come back to the table with our family. But did she even consider that? If you're guessing no, you're absolutely right. My aunt then had the audacity to start filling more dipping cups with fry sauce, ignoring the shy yet panicked worker until she had nearly every last drop. I was absolutely mortified. About halfway through, the employee and I realized that she wasn't going to stop and just kind of let her go ahead and do it, even when the sauce coming out started to slow and the minutes started to tick by. The employee must have figured that trying to stop her would have caused a bigger problem, and since she wasn't actually making much of a mess, it just wasn't worth the battle. We made eye contact, and I both let out a big sigh and mouthed the word "I'm sorry" to her, knowing that they'd probably have to go sanitize that sauce tin now. She returned with a hand up and mouthed, "It's fine," even though we both knew it wasn't. My entitled aunt, after having filled up 12 dipping cups, finally let go of the sauce tin, and the employee gave her a tight-lipped smile as she took it back and went back to the kitchen. I unhappily helped my aunt carry the sauces back to the table, still baffled she would actually do such a thing. She victoriously placed them on the table and said, "Now we have fry sauce and everyone else is jealous." And when she said that, I cringed into oblivion. Maybe people were jealous, maybe not. But did you really have to put the restaurant through a spectacle to get what you wanted? Later on, more people got a more red than pink fry sauce, and my aunt commented about how we had real fry sauce, and that theirs was just a mayo ketchup mixture the kitchen had made. Sure, they don't have the perfect ratio for fry sauce, but those guys also didn't make a scene to get it, and were patient for only about 10 minutes for more fry sauce. To top it all off, eventually our meals were made, and my aunt decided to split up the meal at the counter instead of with me, only bringing my plate after she divvied up the meals. There were chicken fingers, and she gave me the smaller ones. And there was a burger I had been waiting for. The burger had a pretzel bun with a convenient cross plus sign on the top of it, so it was easy to split in half. The only problem was that the patty itself was not centered on the bun. You would think that she would cut the direction that gave both of us equal halves, but guess what? She didn't. She's too entitled. She cut it so half the burger had no overhang and the other half had all of the overhang. And can you guess which half she gave me? I even pointed it out to my dad when she got up, but I just let it go because I didn't want to cause a conflict in the middle of a crowd of entitled siblings altogether. I would much rather enjoy living and breathing. The burger was honestly so good, especially since I had not eaten nearly all day and I was practically starving and was stealing fries from pretty much everybody. Meanwhile, my aunt had the audacity to not even finish the burger that she gave herself more of. Also, the stupid chicken strips were more dry than the air here itself, which is already just like a desert. Needless to say, I will never share anything with her ever again. That is a lesson learned that I will not soon forget. Your aunt sounds very eccentric and definitely very weird. I mean, not only did she insult the staff, but she was also really proud of her actions. Like, I totally get it. Some people are just really determined to get what they want, and they'll do whatever it takes to get what they want. And sometimes that's an endearing thing, where you are glad that they're on your team to a certain extent, but in this case, this was just humiliating. I mean, she was one outburst away from getting kicked out of that place. I mean, she was halfway out the door by siphoning out the fry sauce out of the tin can. So if anything, let this be a lesson learned to an extent, that the next time you go out to get food, make sure your aunt is not going to be with with you. I'm convinced that my best friend is sending me nasty messages behind my back to my cell phone, and it's really upsetting me, and I'm just trying to get down to the bottom of it and figure out what the truth is, and I honestly don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So me and my best friend, I'll call her Elle, met at a shared workplace in 2021. It was her full-time job and my part-time job at the time. We became extremely close this year, and when the company really ruined her job, I decided to leave as well. I already have a career. I just had this side job to fill my spare time, and her being there was definitely a big motivator for me to continue working there. We became so close to the point of seeing each other almost every single day. I mean, I felt like I met my platonic soulmate. Lately, however, I've noticed her treating me differently. She's not a very trusting person, which I understand, but she would accuse me of blatantly lying whenever she would ask me my plans for the day. And for the record, I've never lied to her. She doesn't drive, and I don't mind driving her places. But I've been thinking lately that she's been taking advantage of me. For example, she was casually seeing this man, and each time she went to his place, he would refuse to drive her home. One time she was there for 2 days straight. I brought her home twice, and after that, I told her she should stop going there, but she didn't stop. We had a big New Year's party at her apartment that was in the works for a while, and I was planning on spending the night, but she really wanted to go see him. I didn't put up a fight. I told her that was fine by me, as long as she could be home before midnight so we could still celebrate as planned. She didn't text me until 2 in the morning, and that was to tell me that she's spending the night with him. At that point, everyone had left the party or had straight up just gone to bed, so I decided to get a ride home. She texted me at 4 in the morning that she was on the way back. I told her that I had left at that point, and I didn't say that just to try and be petty, but I was hoping for some kind of apology. But in the end, I got nothing. I then received text messages from a texting app phone number that were really hurtful, things that were very specific, saying that I had a sad ego and that I apparently think I'm better than everyone else, among other things. I truly don't believe I have these qualities, and I was down in the dumps over it for a week. I told her about it, and she acted super surprised and supportive. However, she has been known to download these apps to send messages to her ex. The way she types was eerily similar to this anonymous message. It's also worth mentioning that anytime we have a party, she ignores me. For example, she will laugh and carry on with her other friends, but if I even ask if she wants me to pour us up another drink, she flat out ignores me. I'm not a loud person or ever try to take away from our other friends, so I don't understand this. For the most part though, I just let it slide. I was talking about this message with my sister and another friend, and I didn't mention that I was worried about what Elle might be doing, but they revealed to me that they suspected that it was her and that they've always gotten a bad feeling about her. In fact, my other friend hasn't even met her once, yet felt it was worth mentioning to me. I've also noticed that if I text Elle now, she spams me back until I answer. She has never done this before. Part of me wonders if it may be because she's worried I found out that it was her. I don't want to accuse her. I know she will be upset regardless, and I don't want to hurt her. I also don't want to make connections if they're just coincidences. I guess I'm asking for advice. If there really is any to be given here, is there a nice way I can bring it up to her and just try to be open about it? What should I do? I gotta be honest, the most obvious solution here, especially since you don't know anybody else who would send out anonymous text messages just to be rude, is that it probably is your friend. I mean, it's safe to say that you probably don't have any enemies or anything like that, and she's already made it apparent that she would do this to other people in the past, so it all just kind of lines up that she might do this to you as well. So you could even mention this in passing to her and say, hey, I got these weird text messages. Go to her as if she was just your friend, and you're just explaining a circumstance that's kind of weird. You're not accusing her of anything, but you thought, hey, maybe I could share this with a friend. And then once you show it to her, wait to see how she responds, because I think that really will determine whether or not she did it or not. Because after all, she's the only person you know of who does this to other people. So maybe you could go to her looking for some kind of advice. What should I do about this? Should I call the police? Should I call my internet service provider or my phone company to see if they can trace it back to who's actually sending these hurtful messages? Something like that to try and light a fire underneath her. That will not only wrap her up in this completely, but it will also pretty much anchor to her specifically that yes, you know about this and you're sharing it with pretty much everybody around you. So please don't get upset over these messages. They're literally just text on your phone. Ignore them completely. And until you figure out who actually is sending these messages, whether it's your friend or not, I would not go about making assumptions, because that most definitely will do more damage than good. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, use the playlist at the top of the description. And if you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out in the description below and subscribe.